football in Argentina is the country's most popular sport, the one with the most players, and is the most popular recreational sport, played from childhood into old age. The percentage of Argentines that declare allegiance to an Argentine football club is about 90%. Football was introduced to Argentina in the latter half of the 19th century by the British immigrants in Buenos Aires. The first Argentine league was contested in 1891, making it the third oldest league. The Argentine Football Association was formed in 1893 and is the eighth oldest in the world. The Argentine national team is one of the 8 to have won the Football World Cup, having done so in 1978 and 1986, and also being runner-up in 1930, 1990, and 2014. They have also won the top continental tournament, the Copa América, on 14 occasions, and the FIFA Confederations Cup in 1992. The nation's Olympic representative has won 2 gold medals, while the under-20 team has won a record 6 U20 World Cups. At club level, Argentine teams have won the most Intercontinental Cups and the most Copa Libertadores. Women's football has a national league since 1991, the Campeonato de Fútbol Femenino. In turn, the female national representative qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 2007 and won their first Campeonato Sudamericano Femenino in 2006. In futsal, Argentina were FIFA's AMF Futsal World Cup champions in 1994. They also compete in the FIFA Code of Futsal, where they finished third in the 2004 FIFA Futsal World Cup. The team also won the FIFA Futsal Copa América in 2003. Moreover, Argentina was world champion in futsal for the visually impaired in 1998. Argentina also compete in the Beach Football World Cup, where their best finish was third in 2001. History, beginnings. By 1867 there was a large British community in Buenos Aires who had arrived fresh from establishing their aforementioned, and slightly fictitious Great British League. Most of them had established themselves in Argentina, coming from the United Kingdom as managers and workers of the British-owned railway companies that operated in Argentina. British citizens founded social and sports clubs where they could practice their sports, such as bowls, cricket, football, golf, horse riding, rugby union and tennis amongst others. 2 English immigrants, Thomas and James Hogg, organised a meeting on May 9, 1867 in Buenos Aires where the Buenos Aires Football Club was founded. The club was given permission by the Buenos Aires Cricket Club to make use of the cricket field in Parque 10 de Febrero, Palermo, Buenos Aires, on the site now occupied by the Galileo Galilei Planetarium. The first recorded football match in Argentina took place on this pitch on June 20, 1867, being covered by English-language daily newspaper The Standard. This newspaper, published in Argentina, was the first one to cover football matches in the country. The game was played between 2 teams of British merchants, the Whitecaps and the Redcaps. In the 19th century it was common practice for teams to be distinguished by caps rather than jerseys. The teams consisted of 8 players each as the organisers were unable to find more players for the match. The lineups were, Thomas Hogg, James Hogg, William Forrester, T.B. Smith, J.W. Bond, E.S. Smith, J. Rapsbottom and N.H. Smith. William Heald, T.R. Best, U. Smith, H.J. Barge, H. Wilmont, R.M. Ramsey, J. Simpson and W. Boschetti. The team led by Hogg won 4-0, according to the Standard newspaper published on June 23. The so-called father of Argentine football was a Glaswegian schoolteacher, Alexander Watson Hutton, who first taught football at St. Andrew's School in Buenos Aires in the early 1880s. On February 4, 1884 he founded the Buenos Aires English High School, where he continued to instruct the pupils in the game. In 1891 the Association Argentine Football League was established by Alex Lamont of St. Andrew's Scots School, being the first football league outside of the British Isles. 5 clubs competed but only one season was ever played. In this early period a number of football clubs were set up by the employees of the various British-owned railway companies in Argentina, and a number of these teams have survived to the present day, including Ferrocarril Oeste, Ferrocarril Midland, Rosario Central and Toulouse. Amateur era. A new league, the Argentine Association Football League, was formed February 21, 1893, which eventually became the Argentine Football Association. In these early days of football in Argentina, nearly all of the players and officials were expatriate Britons or of British extraction, and the oldest football clubs in Argentina, like Rosario Central, Newell's Old Boys and Quilmes, were all founded by British expatriates. The most successful and admired team of this early period was alumni founded by graduates and students of Watson Hutton's English High School. Like all of the early clubs, it was mainly made up of British players. Towards the end of the 19th century, the game became increasingly popular amongst other European immigrants, especially the Italians. Most of the early clubs had a policy of excluding the local Creole population. The backlash against this policy at Quilmes Athletic Club resulted in the formation of Argentino de Quilmes in 1899, the first of many Argentine clubs for Argentine players. The name Argentino or Argentinos has remained popular in Argentine football. The most famous team with the name is Argentinos Juniors, who won the Copa Libertadores in 1985. The early years of the 20th century saw a huge number of new clubs formed. By 1907 there were over 300 teams in Argentina. Most of the major clubs were created around this period. He played in the national amateur tournament or in local championships. By this time matches had a considerable attendance, and as the popularity of the game increased, the British influence on the game waned. In 1911 alumni folded, and by 1912 the association was renamed in Spanish as the Asociación Club de Argentina de Football, although the tradition of giving the clubs English names continued for many years. During the early 20th century, many new football leagues were started in cities across Argentina as the popularity of the game spread out from Greater Buenos Aires. These include Rosario, Ciudad de Oba, Santa Fe, San Miguel de Tucumán and San Luis in Salta. The first official match played by the Argentina national team took place on May 16, 1901 against Uruguay, resulted in a 3-2 win for Argentina. This game marked the beginning of the Argentina and Uruguay football rivalry. The first trophy won by Argentina was the Copa Lipton in 1905. They won their first tournament in 1910, which was contested between Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil and Chile. In 1916 Argentina competed in the first Copa Arma Copyright Rica, which was won by Uruguay. They won the tournament for the first time in 1921 and have gone on to win it a total of 14 times. In 1928 Argentina competed at the 1928 Olympics, where they finished runners-up to Uruguay. 2 years later they competed in the first FIFA World Cup, again finishing runners-up to Uruguay. Professional era. Following 2 seasons of disrupted play due to mass cancellation and suspension of matches and the mid-season withdrawal of teams in the 1929 and 1930, 18 teams decided to form a breakaway professional league for the 1931 season. The amateur league carried on in parallel until it folded in 1934, with many of the teams joining the new professional second division. The creation of the professional league helped curb the exodus of Argentine talent to high-paying European football clubs. The 1934 FIFA World Cup Italian national team championship side featured a Riandu in the squad, composed of Argentine-born players such as Raimundo Orsi, Enrique Guata, and Luis Monti, who also played for Argentina in the 1930 FIFA World Cup. In 1964 Independiente became the first Argentine club to win the Copa Libertadores. Argentine clubs have won the competition a total of 22 times, Brazil clubs have the second most with 17. In 1967 Racing became the first Argentine team to win the Intercontinental Cup. Argentine clubs have won the tournament a record 9 times. In 1978 Argentina hosted the FIFA World Cup. They beat Holland 3-1 after extra time to win their first World Cup. They won their second World Cup 1986. In 1979 a young Diego Maradona was part of the Argentina under-20 team that won the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Argentina have gone on to win a record 6 U20 World Cups. In 1995 Rosario Central became the first club not based on Buenos Aires team to win the CONMEBOL Cup. Argentine clubs have won the tournament a record 3 times. In 2004 the Argentina Olympic football team won gold at the Athens Olympic Games. They defended their title in 2008 to become the first team to defend the Olympic football title since Hungary in 1968. Club football, league system. Around 450 registered football clubs play in the Argentine Football Association league system, which is organized into a pyramid of 8 leagues, divided at the third tier between the Greater Buenos Aires conurbation and the rest of the country. Below the 5th level there are a further 250 regional leagues which are affiliated with AFA and compete for the right to enter the league system at the lowest tier. The Primera División is the highest level of club football in Argentina. It was founded in 1891 as an amateur competition, and founded again in 1931 as a professional league by 18 teams which were dissatisfied with the amateur system they were participating on until 1930. This group of 18 founding members of the present league included nearly all of the most prominent clubs of those times, unified by the idea that full and compulsory amateurism was no longer sustainable. For many years since the foundation of the professional Primera División, the only winners were the so-called Big Five. This dominance was finally broken in 1967 by Estudiantes de La Plata. Since then, 10 other teams have won the championship, resulting in a total of 16 teams having been champions of Argentina as of 2012. River Plate have the most championships with 33. The only teams outside the Greater Buenos Aires conurbation to have won the championship are Rosario Central and Newell's Old Boys from Rosario, and Estudiantes de La Plata from La Plata. The Primera División uses the Apertura and Clausura format, which is the standard in Latin American football, consisting of 2 championships or tournaments per season. Apertura is the name of the championship or tournament that opens the season, Clausura is the championship or tournament that closes it, and relegations and promotions from the lower tiers are defined at the ending of each Clausura. In the particular case of Argentina, the Apertura is contested in the second half of the calendar year, and the Clausura is played in the first half of the following year. The Argentine Primera División League is made up of 20 teams, and each Apertura or Clausura championship is organized in a single round-robin schedule, resulting in a total of 19 rounds per championship and 10 matches per round. If 2 given teams face each other in the NTH round of the Apertura championship, the same given teams will face each other in the NTH round of the Clausura championship, but swapping the conditions of home and away teams. At the end of each Clausura, around the middle of each year, the most successful teams of the whole season qualify to play in the Copa Sudamericana, and the least successful teams of the last 3 seasons are either relegated to the second tier, or compelled to play 2 additional end-season matches with a team of the second tier in an away and home format, wherein the winner after these 2 matches gains the right to play the next season in the Primera División, and the loser is condemned to the second tier. This system of 2 end-season additional matches is named Promoción, Spanish for promotion or graduation. Each year, 2 Primera División teams are relegated immediately, and 2 others are forced to play Promoción. Therefore, depending on the Promoción results of the latter 2 teams, the number of relegated teams per year varies between 2 and 4. The qualification for the Copa Libertadores follows an irregular criterion. The most successful teams are not defined on a season basis, but on a calendar year basis instead, taking into account the Clausura championship of the previous season and the Apertura championship of the current one. Below the Primera B Nacional the league system is regionalized, with a further 3 divisions for the Greater Buenos Aires, and 3 tournaments covering the so-called interior. Even below these 8 leagues, the Argentine football outside the Buenos Aires metropolitan area is further regionalized into nearly 250 regional leagues, consisting of teams which participate in championships and tournaments not directly organized by the Argentine Football Association in order to obtain the right to enter the Torneo Argentino C titles by club. From 1891 to date, River Plate is the most winning team with 34 domestic championships, followed by Boca Juniors with 30 titles. Independiente and Racing Club share the 3rd position with 16 titles each. Alumni was the most successful team of amateur era with 10 titles between 1893 and 1911, the year when the club was dissolved. Rivalries. There are many local rivalries in Argentine football. The most important is the Super Derby, which is contested between Argentina's two most popular and successful teams, Buenos Aires rivals River Plate and Boca Juniors. The English newspaper The Observer put the Super Classico at the top of their list of the 50 sporting things you must do before you die. The second most important rivalry in Argentine football is the Avellaneda Derby, which is contested between Independiente and Racing, the third and fifth most popular and third and sixth most successful teams of the country respectively, both of Avellaneda. Other important derbies include the derby between Huracán and San Lorenzo de Almagro, the Rosarian Derby, the Platense Derby, the West Derby, the derby between Atlanta and Chacarita Juniors, the Santafesino Derby, the North Zone Derby, the Cordovan Derby, the derby between Instituto and Racing de Car Ciudad de Oba and the Tucumanian Derby. Other official competitions, other than the league tournaments, AFA also officially recognizes other competitions. Copa de Honor Municipalidad de Buenos Aires contested from 1905 to 1936. This cup was played by teams from Greater Buenos Aires and Rosario. The champion of this tournament qualified to play the Copa de Honor Causeña versus a representative team of the Asociación Cubeña Uruguaya de Fútbol. Copa de Competencia Jockey Club, played from 1907 to 1933. Teams affiliated to the Liga Argentina de Football and Federación Cubeña Rosarina de Football were allowed to enter to this competition. The winner of this cup was allowed to play the tie cup against the Uruguayan champion of Copa de Competencia. Copa Urbaguran, played from 1913 to 1958. The trophy was donated by the Argentine Minister of Public Instruction Drive Carlos Urbaguran to be contested between the champions of all of the regional leagues in Argentina. The cup was only ever contested as a one-off game between 1913 to 1938, Primera División Cubeña vs Rosario League, 1939, Primera División Cubeña vs Littoral League, 1940 to 1941, Primera División Cubeña vs Rosario League, 1942 to 1958, Primera División Cubeña vs Copa President. Copa de Competencia, established in 1920 by the Asociación Cubeña Amateurs de Football, a dissident body formed a year before. The Asociación Cubeña Amateurs organized the championships until 1926, when it merged to Asociación Cubeña Argentina de Football. Copa Adria N.C. Escobar, contested from 1939 to 1949, the trophy of the tournament was donated by Dr. Adria N.C. Escobar, president of the AFA by then. It was a heptagonal competition, competed by the top 7 teams in the table of the official league. Copa Suecia only played in 1958, which was held when the league was interrupted by the 1958 World Cup and was won by Atlanta. Copa Argentina, which is contested as the qualifying competition for Copa Sudamericana. It was played in 1969 and 1970 and relaunched in 2011. Copa Centenario de la AFA, in 1993-94, which celebrated AFA's 100th anniversary and was won by Gimnasia y Esgrima. All those competitions, although not considered league tournaments, are regarded as official titles. For example, there are 2 stars on the jersey of Gimnasia y Esgrima, representing the title of Copa Centenario and their only league title in 1929. Clubs at international competitions. The most successful Argentine club on the international stage is Boca Juniors. The club has won a total of 18 officially recognized international tournaments, a world record they share with Milan of Italy. 3 of its wins are the Intercontinental Cup titles of 1977, 2000 and 2003, which is a record they share with a number of other teams. Independiente has won the most important continental title on the most occasions. Its 7 Copa Libertadores titles is a record, as is its feat of winning the title on 4 consecutive occasions. Also, Independiente was the most successful club on international cups by more than 20 years. These achievements earned them the nickname of Road to Capul. A number of other Argentine clubs have won the Copa Libertadores, including Estudiantes de La Plata, who won it 4 times, River Plate, Racing, Argentinos Juniors and VAR copyright Les Sarsfield. Many Argentine teams have won international titles without ever having won the Argentine Primera. Talleres won the Copa Conmebol in 1999 and Arsenal de Saranda won the Copa Sudamericana in 2007. Argentine clubs have taken part of the following international competitions: Thai Cup, Copa de Honor Causeña, Copa All Day, Copa Libertadores, Intercontinental Cup, Saruga Bank Championship, Supercopa Libertadores, Recopa Sudamericana, Copa Master de Supercopa, Copa Conmebol. Culture. Football plays an important part in the life of many Argentines. Even those supporters who usually do not attend the matches watch them on television and comment on them the next day with friends and co-workers. When the Argentina national football team plays, streets tend to look completely deserted as everyone is watching the match. After the victories in 1978 FIFA World Cup and 1986 FIFA World Cup, streets were flooded with people celebrating the championship, making it impossible not to become part of the celebration. It was in 1986 when the figure of Diego Maradona exploded, becoming an icon not only of Argentine football but of football itself. In Argentina, Maradona became something resemblant of a god, admired by fans of every club. Argentine fans are not allowed to travel to see their teams in away matches, as they have been banned since 2013. Hinchas create an emotional ambience in many stadiums, singing and cheering loudly all game long, but since the away fan ban, the atmosphere in many stadia has been poor, with goals for away teams greeted by silence. Also, there has been a preponderance of home wins in the league, as players struggle to perform with no terror support. Sides such as Newell's Old Boys, whose fans are famous for creating an exciting atmosphere, have particularly struggled in away games where this has been absent. Barra Bravas also create occasional problems, usually in riots after the match. See also: Argentine First Division, Argentine Football League System, Argentine Derbies, Creole Football, Argentina and Brazil Football Rivalry, Argentina and England Football Rivalry, List of football clubs in Argentina, List of Argentine football announcers, Argentina national football team, Category, Argentine footballers, Women's football in Argentina, References. External links: Argentine Football Association website.